the MJF, situation really got me thinking that I feel as if MJF is now at the point in his career where he doesn't need AEW. I think AEW needs him. I don't know if that's like controversial to say, but like if you really think about it, like who else on that roster is performing at the level that he's performing? And I know it's more than just Mike's skills, even though MJF can go in the ring, even though he is very talented in the ring. I feel like he's just at a level mic wise and storytelling wise that is like just surpassing everybody else. So his little mini pipe bomb.
Do you want to call it pipe bomb?
I mean, call a spade a spade. Everybody's going to keep comparing it to the pipe bomb. Do I feel like it was as impactful as the pipe bomb?
No.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny how people like to just draw these like comparisons.
There's people saying that this was better than the actual pipe bomb.
Yeah.
CM Punk pipe. Okay, listen, guys. Don't get carried away. We know this is a fresh thing. It just happened. Everybody's oohing on. But let's make it clear. The pipe bomb, when they did that, when CM Punk did that, when that Monday Night Raw, like we didn't, like there was shoot promos that was done before, but that one really took CM Punk from upper mid-card guy to main event guy. That pipe bomb did a whole lot for the CM Punk character. Now we always knew that CM Punk was great, right? But he needed that moment to take him to the next level. Going back to MJF in this promo, there was a lot of similarities between his pipe bomb and CM Punk's pipe bomb at the ending. Cutting his mic at the end.
Mic off.
Very similar.
And to me, that was a little bit too much on the nose. Like, I feel like y'all didn't need to, like, add that in to kind of get the same pipe bomb feel. It already was great. It didn't, not saying that it didn't make sense story-wise, but I feel like it was a little bit too similar.
No.
Yeah,
don't get me wrong. When I was watching it, I was glued. Because MJF, if
Yeah.
there's somebody that can get close to that level of what CM Punk could do on the mic, it is MJF. That's why that rivalry was what it was. You know, the promos battles between them. But this was great. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen with MJF. I do believe later down the line whether he stays. I don't know if he's actually going to leave AEW. But when we go to 2024, and if he does do the free agency thing, do I see him staying with AEW? Not really. Because MJF, when it's all said and done, he wanted to be a WWE guy. He tried out for Tough Enough. Everybody knows he's a lifelong WWE fan. And he watches the product. He says he wants to work with Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns. And he's talking about the women, the Charlottes and Becky's, all these stars. And he wants to be in that locker room.
But you know what's crazy about that is that this is something that's been rumored for a while, MJF going to WWE. And I don't feel like MJF at this point in his career, like I said, I do feel like he doesn't need them, they need him. But at the same time, I don't feel like he ticked all the boxes yet that he could do in terms of AEW. Like, I don't feel like he's, reached the full potential that he could.
He wasn't even a champion yet.
Yeah, he hasn't even been a champion yet.
Not even a TNT champion.
Yeah.
Like he didn't like.
Which goes to tell you something. If he's not the champion, he's the most talked about,
highest ratings
person on the card. And the crazy thing is that he's one of those people who I feel like are those special talents who don't need a title. I don't feel like you could give MJF the title, go ahead, but he doesn't need it. Just the way I didn't feel like CM Punk needed it, but, that's a, different discussion. But MJF, at this point, I don't think that he should jump ship just yet, even though, like I keep saying, the company, desperately needs him, and they're not really offering him too much, but there's a lot more he can do just for the sake of doing, I think, just for the sake of stacking up his experience, just for the sake of getting people to get more eyes on him or getting some more legitimacy, because I feel like once he goes to WWE, he wants to work with those people, but the WWE locker room as of right now, it's a very closed off kind of environment where I think that there's a ceiling over everybody who goes there. Like there's a ceiling for anybody who is basically not Roman Reigns.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not, and this is the thing, I think, but me personally, I feel like MJF, seeing him in an AEW ring, and after seeing this promo, and when you realize the type of wrestling style that AEW is, MJF is a WWE guy. Mm-hmm. His style, he's a storyteller. If done correctly, he's a WWE guy. Mm-hmm. You know, when it goes to the AEW wrestling style and everything, let's call it what it is. When you think about AEW, you think about fast pace, super kicks, tope suicidas. Everybody's kicking out at 2. Everybody's going through 5 million tables and kicking out at 2.
Thumbtacks.
MJF, storyteller.
Yeah.
You know, I don't say slow and methodical, but he's, like he said in this promo, oh, y'all don't think I can wrestle because I'm not dumping my opponents on their heads? Yeah. I don't have to do all of the BS that everybody, and which is true, you know what I'm saying? Like, I respect a wrestler like MJF. I'm a storyteller guy.
Yeah.
I've seen enough of ping-ponging around in wrestling. Like, we had our phase, you know, when NXT was doing it. I didn't watch New Japan as much, and that's kind of what MJF said in this promo. But when it comes to his wrestling style, I prefer him because I'm old school. I'm more of storytelling thing. Mm-hmm. We went through that whole phase with NXT, the Johnny Garganos, the Adam Coles, the flying around, but they flying around like ping pong balls all over the place, and then everybody's kicking. We had that. I'm way past that.
Right.
I'm back to sports entertainment.
Yeah,
you know?
And honestly, I think that's what's working right now for the Cody Seth Rollins situation. Even though I feel like, me personally, I don't feel like the story is being as delivered as strongly as I think it is, as it should be. Like, I understand what the story is. I understand what it is that they're going through, but I only understand it because you told me. You know, you're the one who kind of like broke it down to me as to what it is. And maybe it's because I was kind of like losing interest in WWE again, like where the product is right now just does not grab my attention whatsoever. But if you didn't explain it to me, I wouldn't really have gotten the feel of that promo, or like of what the story actually is from their promos. Meanwhile, with MJF, it is very, very clear what it is what the story is. And I think he has a great way of letting you know. You can check in at AEW this week, or you can check in 2-3 weeks from now, and you will know what the story is, because MJF is just so great at making the story accessible to people who have been watching, as well as people who are just coming in. So, meanwhile, if you're just coming into some of these other stories, like the Cody and Seth Rollins, you just think that they just beating the mess out of each other because Seth Rollins just likes to be a jerk. But I feel like MJF knows the talent of, telling a story. But the thing with the pipe bomb, honestly, that I'm like kind of feeling about, once again, I don't know why we're calling it a pipe bomb, but
do you think he was right about Tony Khan treating WWE guys better than his original talent?
I mean, yes and no, because I do feel like he does treat the WWE guys better, but at the same time, I feel like the WWE people coming in already have such established characters, while when it comes to AEW, I really struggle to see what the character is. Like, there's not too many people taking their character and really running with it and really making something with it. Yeah, and the people who are taking their characters and running with it, it's like, it's a lot of times it's kind of corny, or at least it's not, getting over so much. Like, the big disappointment is in Malachi Black and where his story is going. Where his
character went.
And it's just like, there's no reason that character should fail, Stop. So I think that, honestly, I think AEW really needs to reevaluate what it's doing with its characters, how it's building its stars, because I think there's a big, heavy emphasis on what goes on in the ring, and as it should be, that is important, but at the end of the day, like, there's a reason why WWE stars go on to like, do movies and radio shows and TV shows, and not saying that that's important, but they go on to sell merch and be known as these larger than life characters.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because it starts in the ring, or it started at WWE. Meanwhile, with AEW, there's no, like, MJF is legitimately his character inside and outside the ring. Like, he keeps that same kayfabe alive. And I'm not saying that the other people aren't doing it, but there's just nothing there. Like, even when it comes to people like Jade Cargill, which I know that's a you rolling your eyes. That's a whole
so forced, yo.
That's a whole other podcast, honestly.
So
I think we should do a whole episode on just Jade.
Gosh, she's so forced. But yes.
But when you boil it down to what is it? What is she? Just a attractive black woman with abs.
Yeah, with muscles. Yeah.
Yeah, like there's the only other person
She has no character.
She doesn't have any character.
She doesn't have character. She gets away with her looks.
Yeah, and even and I hate to say this, but I am a huge Adam Cole fan, and I feel like even his character is just like lost in the wind. It's just like
he kind of you remember that night when he came in and everybody was going crazy because it was Adam Cole, baby, and everybody loves Adam Cole. He's cool. We love Adam Cole. He's a great guy behind the scenes. He's a workhorse. He's a hard worker. He's gonna make sure that he will, help out for the company, help his opponent. He's a professional. But MJF, I do see him. Just going back to what I said about him, leaving. I do see him eventually moving on to WWE. I do see him making that move. Now,
I don't want him to be honest.
I kind of do.
Really?
I kind of do because it's like it's a different like AEW style is not what MJF is.
Right.
MJF's style is he's more like, if done correctly, he is WWE style.
But it's crazy because I genuinely feel like, this may sound weird to say, but I feel like MJF could impact the company to start taking that more seriously, like to start transforming their style, because I don't think they need to change it. I just think they need to transform it, like grow it, expand it, past the thumbtacks and fiery tables
and all that.
Yeah, like he can really expand that. And even the crazy part with his match with CM Punk, the match was okay. Like the match was everything that people wanted to be, bloody, gruesome, all that stuff. But I didn't care about the match so much as I cared about the story. And I feel like the more that AEW sees that, the more they can take that and run with it. Meanwhile, vice versa, MJF goes to WWE, and like I said, I feel like they're going to turn him into the Miz 2.0. I feel like he can keep up that storyline part, but WWE is so set in their ways, and the way they're at right now is just very, just kind of just treading water, just going through the motions, not really doing things, not really being innovative. Aside from Cody.
Yeah.
And anything that was innovative, like The Fiend, gets
buried.
Buried. Goodbye.
Send him out of there. Send him to the Shadow Robes. Well, yeah. No. If MJF goes over to WWE, the thing that I can say is, I feel like, yes, if they use him correctly, he can bring on those high ratings and storylines. At the same time, even though I do want him there, I don't see him getting pushed more than a Braun Breaker or an Austin Theory. Those are the two guys. MJF is not going to be the guy. At the same time, I feel like MJF is not going to be the guy on AEW. It's too many people. And now with the Forbidden Door thing going on, they're going to bring in these New Japan guys. That they just brought in Tanahashi. All these people. You got Brian. You have CM Punk when he comes back. You still have Hangman. You have Kenny Omega when he comes back. You have Miro. you know, who people want to see in that top spot. So it's like Adam Cole. Adam Cole has to get that world title, you know. So it's like I feel like MJF staying in AEW is playing it safe.
Yeah,
I feel like he's
I
playing
can
it.
agree with that.
I think playing it safe, right?
I think I can
As
agree with
opposed to
that.
WWE, if they use him correctly, there is a chance they can use him correctly. Now, is he going to come out there and start cursing out people, talking about people's, you know, drug moms and all that stuff, drug
Yeah.
addicted moms and all that stuff? No, they're not going to have that. But I feel like MJF is the type of guy, he'll make it work. He'll get his character over with
Yeah.
whatever that they give him,
Right.
and he'll clean it up. He'll
Yeah.
clean up his thing, but he'll also at the same time establish a character that people could get behind if they let him and if they trust him.
Right.
You know, like I said, do I see him getting pushed more than Austin Theory or Braun Breaker? No, but I still think he could.
Which I think he's better, to be honest. Well,
Listen,
promo-wise,
A Town down. That's my guy. A Town down. John Cena Jr. right there.
Yeah, I think going back to what I was saying earlier about this pipe bomb, I think everybody's going crazy about it. Everybody loves it, but I think everybody always loves when somebody kind of
Blurs the lines.
breaks the fourth wall, so to speak. Like, think anytime somebody kind of, you know, calls out things that everybody knows but nobody talks about, like, we love that regardless, because it's like they're actually talking to the audience, like we're actually acknowledging what's going on. Do I think it'll have a lasting impact? I don't know, because this whole story that they going on with MJF, honestly, with him, like, I mean, I don't know if him not showing up to the event was part of it or not. I don't know if it was just like a shoot or if that was legit.
I think he's legit upset. He's been talking about this contract and everything for a minute now. So it's like, I think maybe now is a bit of a work shoot type of situation.
Yeah.
But I do feel at the same time he's legit upset. And what he's saying is true. You know what I'm saying? Like, you do see the guys come in, the WWE guys, the more and more people come in, you know, the Keith Lees, the Swerves, you know, even the women, the like, everybody, like, all the originals got pushed to the side.
Yeah.
The people that wanted to be there when AEW got off the map,
Yeah.
they got pushed to the side.
Right.
The more and more these WWE guys come in, you know,
and I think, you know, kind of following on your point, I feel like when these new guys come in, it's almost like they kind of show up the original people. I don't know if you noticed that, but it's just like, it's almost like, yo, like, playtime is over. Like, now we got some actual names. Almost like AEW doesn't treat its own stars as actual big names. You know, like, take a look at the women. Like, you have, what's her name, who finally just turned heel with the whole Malachi.
Julia Hart.
Yeah, that situation lasted way too long.
Yeah, that was way too long.
Y'all dragged that
way too long.
Y'all dragged that for way too long. And I feel like, but that storyline, I feel like actually had potential. I was actually interested in her. But her screen time was kept so minimal, as opposed to y'all constantly throwing up, you know, Ruby Soho. Y'all constantly throwing up, well, even though Britt is AEW, I just felt like there's just so much emphasis on who AEW considers to be stars. It's the same thing that WWE does. It's no different. But they're not even giving the other originals a chance. And the problem with that is that because this company is so young, there's no time to waste, kind of. Mm-hmm. You know, they have to get them over now, or they're going to be, you know, buried and fall through the cracks. So I think the point is that at this point, MJF kind of has to get himself over. I feel like he's in a good point in his career, like in a crossroads, basically, where he can decide where it is that he wants to go, what it is that he wants to do, because he's shown that he is better or kind of too good for AEW, or at least what they're doing right now, because this whole battle royale of people fighting for freaking airtime for a 5-minute match on Rampage, having to compete with 30 other people for that same spot. It's kind of, now I don't want to say killing his momentum, but I can understand why he's frustrated. I can understand why he wants to leave, and I can understand why he would want to go to WWE. Whether he would be successful there or not, I mean, I think that's up to.
I mean,
debate.
Whether it's now, whether it's 2024, if he stays in AEW in 2024, let's just say if he does get on good terms with TK, and maybe he does resign.
So you think the beef is legit?
I think he has I'm not sure if it's a big beef, but I do think that there is a bit of an issue there.
Okay.
I do think there's a bit of an issue there because this is something that he's been discussing for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Throughout his different rivalries and stuff.
Right.
Interviews, he'll throw stuff out there. He'll let it be known that he's a WWE fan.
Yeah.
At the end of the day. But whether he resigns or whatever, I do see MJF being in WWE. He's not going to be an AEW lifer.
Really?
I definitely think he's going to switch. He wants to be in WWE. He wants to be in WWE.
And now that I think about it, I think it's kind of like weird because I think WWE does have this, as we said before, they like their own homegrown stars. Like, they like to craft their characters, they like to craft their people, but at the same time, they also like, I guess, like a comeback story of people who left and came back and got themselves over. We see this with Cody, we see this with Drew. People who kind of, even though MJF was never part of them officially, I feel like he's like not the type of person that they would like, break apart piece by piece and then, send him his pink slip and be like, budget cuts, goodbye. I think that they see the potential in him. I think they see him I think they'll see the potential. I think they'll see him as the cash cow he can be. And, and keep him around. But as for AEW does not need to let him go. But unfortunately, I think at this point it's only a matter of time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So with that being said, thank you guys for listening once again to another one of our podcasts.
Mini podcast.
Let us know if you like this setup. Once again, it was something new we're trying out, and I think we're enjoying it. We're liking it. Yeah,
fun.
Having fun with it.
Fun discussions.
Let us know what other topics you want us to talk about. We probably will touch on the Jade Cargill. We're definitely gonna talk about Jade and our controversial thoughts on that.
So overrated.
We're gonna talk about CM Punk a little bit more.
Yeah, when we find out more details
about his injury, and I guess we also want to talk about Judgment Day and what's going on over there with WWE and what the plans for that are, because honestly, I don't see any, but
I don't know. Maybe we're going to we can't have Judgment Day versus the New Day because we need Big E and actually, I don't know. I don't see it just like being Xavier and Kofi versus Edge and Damian Priest. Now, you need Big E in there, so
yeah, that seems like
WWE's waiting for that. Oh, Judgment Day versus the New Day. Sign it, Bruce. But yeah.
All right. Thank you guys. Goodbye.